local news leader. This is KTTC News.
We have covered many teacher contract negotiations recently as unions race to come to agreements over issues such as pay, benefits, and class sizes before the new year. Good evening, everyone. I'm Brock Burgee. Well, now today, teachers in the Kasson-Manorville School District entered talks with school leaders. First at 5, our Olivia Pronzinski joins us live from Kasson. Olivia, what are the teachers fighting for, and did they come to an agreement?
Brock, the teachers in the school district were in mediation all day fighting for better pay and better benefits. Now, the union just got out of mediation moments ago, and there is no tentative agreement. The union president just handed me this statement, and it says the union does not feel the current board offer is one that meaningfully addresses the challenges Kasson-Manorville teachers face with higher costs rising and higher benefits rising. As you can see behind me, there's quite the crowd here in support of the union wearing red. They have signs that says "We are worth it," and we will have more on this tonight. Live in Kasson, Olivia Pronzinski, KTTC News.
All right, Olivia, thank you. We will look forward to your updates later on, as you said tonight. Thank you very much. Some tense moments for a large group of ice fishers in northern Minnesota as they became stranded on a chunk of ice that detached from shore. This happened late yesterday afternoon north of Brainerd on Upper Red Lake in Beltrami County. Authorities say 35 people had to be rescued as the separated ice had 40 to 50 feet of open water between it and the shoreline. An airboat was used to get all 35 people back safely on solid ground. Following the incident, the Beltrami County Sheriff's Office issued a statement regarding ice safety. In part, it reads, quote, "At least 4 inches of clear new ice is recommended for walking. Ice can never be considered 100% safe. If you become stranded on the ice, call for help. We would rather have trained responders assist than someone falling in the water," end quote. Fortunately, none of the 35 people stranded yesterday fell in the water. Chief Meteorologist Nick Jansen is off this hour, so we're going to turn to meteorologist Sarah Gannon joining us live from the weather patio. And Sarah, those temperatures are just going to keep going up, so staying off the ice is certainly a good idea.
Absolutely. Hey there, Brock. Yeah, it certainly is a bit chilly out here for our Monday. Conditions finally feeling a little bit like December today, but don't worry. If you're not a fan of the cold, it won't last very long. We're looking to see temperatures back in the 40s later on this week. But man, it has been windy here the past 24 hours. Here's a look at some of those peak wind gusts from today. Seeing winds gusting up towards about 40 miles per hour here in Rochester and Mason City, even about that same speed there towards Charles City and La Crosse. So some very strong winds in the area ranging anywhere from 35 to 45 miles per hour. So winds slowly dying down here at this hour, looking at wind speeds right now anywhere from around 5 to 10 miles per hour. But we are expecting to see winds gusting back up again tomorrow after a quiet evening. Temperatures, though, on the chilly side, many of us seeing our air temperatures into the teens and 20s with wind chill values in the single digits, especially for us here in the Rochester area, down towards Preston, even over towards Austin and Dodge Center, but over towards Forest City, looking at wind chill values into the teens. It is a quiet evening here. We've got some clear skies overhead as we check in with your Lewis Snotto live camera. We'll see a couple clouds filtering in and out throughout tonight, but overall a pretty quiet evening in store as we check in with your future track radar. High pressure gradually building here across the upper Midwest, so we're looking to settle in for a couple quiet days here as we move into the midweek. Tonight, though, temperatures will be chilly back into those teens, and with a few clouds filtering in and out, we are expecting to see winds shifting out of the south. They'll be strong for tomorrow, but that will allow temperatures to really warm up. We're back in those 30s tomorrow, 40s for the rest of the week. So conditions looking to feel mighty warm later on as we get closer to Christmas. So how are our chances looking for a white Christmas this year? We'll take a look at those forecast details coming up in just a little bit in your First Alert weather. Brock?
Sarah, thank you. We will see you soon. Covering Iowa tonight, 2 Republican presidential hopefuls will be making campaign stops in Mason City tomorrow. Ron DeSantis will take part in a meet and greet with U.S. Representative Chip Roy at noon tomorrow. That is going on at the Corner Pizza and Ale House located on State Street in Mason City. Later in the day, Vivek Ramaswamy will attend a rally being held by Cerro Gordo County Republicans. That event begins at 6 p.m. at the Blue Heron Bar and Grill located on Federal Avenue. Iowa's first in the nation caucus is January 15th. Well, great news if you are planning on doing some traveling this holiday week. Road trip expenses are going to be cheaper. Gas prices are going down for the 13th consecutive week, according to Gas Buddy's head of petroleum analysis, Patrick DeHaan. He says Minnesota's average gas prices have fallen 6.5 cents per gallon in the last week, averaging 2.87 cents per gallon today. DeHaan says that average diesel prices also fell below $4 a gallon for the first time since July. He says although many people are traveling, there is not an increase in demand this holiday season.
Demand is not usually something that factors into gas prices, even for summer holidays. They're so short-lived. In addition to Christmas travel, Americans take a lot of time off that they're not driving to work. Schools are closed, so demand for gasoline is actually a little bit lower during the holidays in the winter.
DeHaan says the rest of 2023 is looking good in terms of fuel prices. In Rochester, many stations are currently at $2.99 a gallon. Some good news now for those of you who enjoy traveling. Processing times for U.S. passports are back to pre-pandemic levels after years of delays. The State Department says it's finally through a backlog that piled up during the pandemic. Now it takes up to 8 weeks to get a passport the standard way, or up to 3 weeks for an expedited application. That's compared to wait times more than twice that long back in 2021. The State Department says it has issued a record number of passports in the most recent fiscal year. Back to some weather talk now. In our mild December is plaguing traditional outdoor activities here in Minnesota and Iowa. Reporter Kirsten Mitchell shows us how the warmer than average temps are cutting down on some playtime.
It's wild. I mean, there's no ice out there whatsoever.
One of the few places you'll find an outdoor ice rink is in the Alls Yard in Minneapolis.
I'm glad that our dad does this. Yeah. It's really cool.
But even their homemade rink is struggling to stay frozen.
As they're skating on it, and if we put more weight on it, you can just see that there's water coming up around the edges.
The first time my brother stomped in that corner over there and the ice broke.
No one's fallen through yet.
This time last year, they say the rink was frozen solid and ready for action.
And the kids are elementary school, like you want to get them outside and active, and without snow and rinks around Minneapolis to go on, there's not much else to do.
We have a certain amount of base, but doesn't look too good right now.
Just an inch of ice has formed on Jeff Scogan's rink in Stillwater.
Normally we'd have it already up and running. Every Christmas Eve we have our whole family here, so we normally have a little hockey tournament amongst all of us.
T-Rex Rinks has made the Scogan's his rink for several years.
Every year we're dealing with something different.
Last December, the average high was 24 degrees. So far this year, the average high is 40.
The ground isn't completely frozen yet. So that allows us to get rinks in the ground, but we're waiting for the cold temperatures so we can actually fill the rinks up.
Despite a late start to the season, co-owner Nolan Rinta predicts by January, more rinks will be up and running.
Patience is key, unfortunately.
We're a little disappointed, but there's not much we can do about it.
As they say, what a difference a year can make. Experts say that you need about a week and a half of temperatures around or below freezing for those rinks to become ideal for skating conditions. Hey, as we look ahead to 2024, we once again want to remind you we're getting ready for the 70th annual KTTC Eagles 5th District Cancer Telethon. It's a big year as we come together to raise money for cancer research. All of that money raised stays right here in southern Minnesota, benefiting research at Mayo Clinic, the Hormel Institute, and the University of Minnesota. We hope you will join us on January 13th and 14th as we raise hope and awareness for cancer research. Still ahead for you tonight at 5. It is being called a radical change in Vatican policy, the new document from the Pope. And paying their respects. Coming up, we'll show you how the first woman to serve on the Supreme Court is being honored, and hear more about how Sandra Day O'Connor is being remembered. And in your first alert weather forecast, a lot of people getting ready to hit the roads for the holiday weekend. What will the travel be like? Sarah joins us with your weather details next. Mourners paid their respects to trailblazing Justice Sandra Day O'Connor at the Supreme Court today, a day before her funeral service. Let's bring in KTTC's White House correspondent, John Decker. John, we understand you were among those paying respects to O'Connor today. What did you learn from the other members of the public doing the same thing as we remember the nation's first woman to serve on the High Court?
Well, absolutely, Brock. It meant a lot to me just to walk by Sandra Day O'Connor's flag-draped casket and pay my respects to her. I'm a member of the Supreme Court Bar. I've met Sandra Day O'Connor a number of years ago, and that meeting just meant a lot to me. We had a very meaningful conversation. When I spoke to those who also waited in line to just walk past Sandra Day O'Connor's casket, they told me about how she meant so much to them. Just the trailblazing nature of her life, the first woman on the U.S. Supreme Court, the consensus builder that she was, the pragmatist that she was, and the keen legal mind that she had. All of those reasons compelled so many people to turn out all day today and file past her casket, and that will continue for another few hours. Tomorrow will be the invitation-only funeral that will take place at Washington's National Cathedral. There will be a eulogy that will be given by President Biden and the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, John Roberts.
We certainly appreciate your insight and your personal experience there, sharing with us that part, John. Let's talk a little bit now about the bid for the White House. Less than 30 days to go until the Iowa caucus. What's the good news for South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley? And then second part to that question, why is the Biden campaign criticizing recent comments by former President Donald Trump?
Well, as for Nikki Haley, she got some good news over the weekend. A new poll coming out concerning New Hampshire. She now is up to, according to this poll, 29%. That's pretty impressive considering she was in the low single digits just a few months ago. And she really thinks that she can use that momentum coming out of New Hampshire to give her sort of a shot in the arm, so to speak, as the South Carolina primary takes place immediately afterwards. As for the Biden campaign pushing back against what Donald Trump said over the weekend, let me first tell you what he said, and then I'll tell you the reaction. Donald Trump at a campaign rally in Nevada talked about immigrants who come to the U.S. In not a legal fashion, and said that those migrants are, in his words, poisoning the blood of our country. Those are the kind of words we literally heard coming from Nazi Germany, and that's the reason for the pushback from the Biden campaign. You also see some pushback coming also from Chris Christie, who's of course competing against Donald Trump for the Republican nomination. We'll have to wait and see whether those remarks have any impact at all in terms of Donald Trump's poll numbers over the course of the next few weeks and the next few days, really.
White House correspondent John Decker reporting for us live in Washington. As always, John, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, an Idaho judge has denied the second of two motions to dismiss the case against quadruple murder suspect Brian Kohberger. Prosecutors allege Kohberger of killing 4 University of Idaho students last year. Kohberger's request to dismiss the grand jury indictment against him centered on the defense claim of a biased jury and concerns over evidence. Back in October, the judge also denied a motion to dismiss based on claims of inaccurate instructions to the grand jury. He pleaded not guilty to 4 murder charges. A trial date has not yet been set. The Biden administration is taking steps to deal with a surge of migrants crossing the southern border into Texas. U.S. Customs and Border Protection announced yesterday it will temporarily suspend operations at the International Railway crossing bridges in Eagle Pass and also in El Paso, Texas. The agency says the temporary closing will allow Border Patrol agents to focus more on processing migrants who have already entered the country. More than 4,000 migrants crossed into Texas on Sunday alone. A Homeland Security official said the increase is straining federal resources. Border agents in Southern California intercepted a tractor trailer carrying thousands of pounds of drugs last week. The shipments had been declared as jalapeno paste, which the truck was actually carrying. But a canine unit at a cargo facility in San Diego flagged something else. It turned out to be nearly 350 suspicious packages within those vats. Officers found more than 3,000 pounds of methamphetamine and more than 500 pounds of cocaine. The street value of those two estimated at $10.4 million. The 28-year-old driver was detained. He had a valid border crossing card for the shipment. And in a major shift in Vatican doctrine, Pope Francis formally permitted Roman Catholic priests to bless same-sex couples today. The blessings may be carried out as long as they are not part of regular church rituals or liturgies. They must also not take place at the same time as a civil union. The ruling is a shift from a 2021 ruling from the Vatican Doctrine Office, which barred any blessings saying God, quote, cannot bless sin. And
Here's your first alert weather with meteorologist Sarah Gannon.
so a week from today is Christmas.
It is.
And brown Christmas, it looks like it's going to be.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's looking like. We've continued to track this out, and unfortunately, the system's just not in our favor. Those temperatures just looking to be too warm. And we are tracking some rainfall possible just in time for Christmas, but unfortunately, because of those temps, not looking to be snow. So when we look at our countdown to Christmas, we are now 7 days away. Christmas Day next Monday. So again, what are our chances here for a white Christmas? We have about a 0 to 5% chance of that happening for us here in southeast Minnesota and northeast Iowa. So, we wanted to break things down a little bit further. County by county, how are things looking? Will we have a white Christmas this year? Counties in green? No. Now for the counties in red, also no, but in red. So we look to see very little chance here of some snowfall by Christmas. However, we could be seeing some record heat on the way for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So going back into those record books, back in 1953 and in 2021, the record set for Christmas Eve day is 41 degrees. Christmas Day, the record is 50 degrees, set back in 1941. So forecasted temperatures both days expected to be into those upper 40s, about 47 degrees. So looking at these records, we have a very good chance of breaking that record, smashing that record really, Christmas Eve, and then challenging it by Christmas Day. So we may lack the snow, but we're really gaining that heat, and we'll look to potentially break some records here for the holidays. Tonight, though, we are staying chilly and quiet. Temperatures will return back above average after our trip to the 20s today, but we'll be back in the 40s later on this week. And of course, as you just saw, snow chances looking to be near zero as we head towards the Christmas holiday. Temperatures outside certainly a bit chilly. Many of us into those teens and low 20s here at the 5 o'clock hour. Wind chill values into the single digits here for many spots, in teens for other places. So a bit of a chilly night for sure. Looking to see wind chill values maybe getting near zero during the overnight hours. So we've got clear skies overhead right now as we check in with your future track radar. Not much happening. High pressure, though, in control of the upper Midwest, and that will keep us pretty quiet here for the next couple of days. So a bit of a quiet weather pattern settling in as we roll into the midweek. Timing things out, we stay pretty quiet now. However, I want to show you temperatures tonight staying chilly. We'll drop to those teens. We'll see our winds shifting from the north. They'll be now out of the south as we roll into early tomorrow morning, and that wind will do two things for us. One, it's going to speed things up, so we are going to be rather windy throughout tomorrow, but daytime temperatures looking to soar, looking to climb back into those mid-30s. So nice push of warm air out of the south is expected for your Tuesday, and then by Wednesday, temperatures continue to climb there. Look to see highs by Wednesday afternoon, jumping back into those 40s. So we are certainly looking to see our warm temperature trend continue with us. Next 10 days expected to continue on with those above average temperatures, and we look to stay pretty close to those upper 40s as we head towards the long holiday weekend, even into next week. Looking to see temps there into those 30s. So still above average, and even as we get, of course, as you saw for Christmas, temperatures will be above average. But even as we look a little bit further out towards the first of the new year, so January 1st, 2024, looking at some good confidence there, about 60 to 70% chance of seeing above average temperatures ringing us in here for the new year. Tonight, though, we look to stay partly cloudy. A couple clouds expected to filter in throughout the overnight hours. A bit chilly there with temps dropping to those low teens. Tomorrow, looking to see warmer temperatures, partly sunny skies, very strong winds for the area. Looking to gust upwards about 25 miles per hour. We'll see highs there into those upper 30s. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast. We are back in the 40s there by Wednesday and tracking some rain chances on the way Sunday and into Christmas Day on Monday.
The one positive, it doesn't look like we should deal with many travel issues as far as weather goes,
at least. So I will say that'll be a nice trade-off. If you're going here in the Midwest, you won't have to deal with that snowfall to impact that travel.
The good and the bad. All right, Sarah, thank you. We're going to check in now with Caitlin with a look at what's coming up at 6. Caitlin?
All right, thanks, Brock. Coming up on KTTC News at 6, it's a plan that's been getting a lot of talk around the community. Rochester Public Schools Attendance Options Redesign Plan, a way the district is addressing its budget concerns that currently calls for the closure of 3 schools and transportation cuts, among others. Public meetings that were scheduled for tonight and tomorrow have now been postponed. We'll tell you why tonight at 6. Brock will be right back.
It could be a new era of treatments for genetic conditions. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration recently approved new therapies for sickle cell disease. In tonight's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on the new treatments and what they could mean for the future of this disease.
It's been a long time coming. Newly FDA-approved therapies for sickle cell disease are shining a light of hope on a long-neglected illness.
This is a huge thing.
Dr. Beth Stanger with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta treats pediatric patients with sickle cell disease. The illness is a group of inherited red blood cell disorders which causes the red blood cells to become hard and sticky and crescent in shape,
which then blocks blood vessels, particularly very small blood vessels all through the body, leading to painful episodes and organ damage over the lifetime of an individual with sickle cell disease.
Up until now, the only cure for the disease has been a bone marrow or stem cell transplant, but it can be risky and doesn't always work. The new therapies take away the need for a donor. Casgevy uses a technique to alter a patient's stem cells, while Lyfgenia is a cell-based gene therapy using a gene delivery vehicle for genetic modification.
Both of the clinical trials that led to these two products' FDA approval showed dramatic decrease in the number of painful episodes that these patients are having.
The new treatments won't make sickle cell go away. The hefty price tag and extensive hospital stay may not allow access to all.
I think, as with any kind of new and expensive thing in medicine, they do get cheaper and better over time.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The CDC estimates about 100,000 people in the United States have sickle cell disease. We'll be right back.
Well, it was a major milestone today in the restoration of Notre Dame in Paris as a large crane lifted a new copper rooster to the top of the cathedral's famous spine.
There it goes. Work to rebuild Notre Dame has been underway since the building was destroyed by fire back in April of 2019. The placement of the rooster means work on the 315-foot spire is nearly complete, and the scaffolding is soon going to be coming down. The original rooster that had capped the old spire. How do you say that?
I said spine on accident.
Well, we'll go
I think it's spear. Spire? I think spire.
Found dented in the rubble. It was found dented in the rubble after the fire. That one is going to go on display at the museum there. The new weather vane rooster made of golden copper was blessed during a ceremony over the weekend. The plan calls for the cathedral to fully open within the next 12 months, but a very ornate and beautiful
cool
decoration for sure.
I didn't know that was there. I think that's